main star goes missing, and so his stunt double, Ryan Gosling, goes looking for him, and it follows the story of that. I rated this 3.5 stars out of 5 because I had low expectations. I thought it was going to be like really, I don't know why I said that with an accent. I thought it was going to be really cringy and like just, I don't know. But I did really like it. And it was a good, funny, like action film. The second film I watched was Civil War, which is a rewatch. I watched this in April. And I still rate it 4 stars out of 5. I feel like this is not in the middle. That would do. It's still not in the middle, but it's fine. 4 stars out of 5. Civil War follows a group of war journalists who are covering a civil war that's broken out in the US, and it follows them travelling to Washington DC to try and get an interview with the president. The final film that I watched in May was The Strangers Chapter 1, which stars Madeleine Petsch and Froy Gutierrez. And this is also a remake of a trilogy. I think there's already a trilogy of films called The Strangers, and they've made another trilogy. So this is the first one. It's a horror film about a couple who are going on holiday. Their car like breaks down. They have to like spend the night in like this small town, or on the outskirts of this small town, in this log cabin. What could go wrong? And then there's a bunch of people in masks that try and kill them. I hate scary films. I get scared very easily, but I didn't find it that scary. There was like a couple of jump scares, but jump scares are always going to be scary for me. But it wasn't. Yeah, I rated 3 stars out of 5. I don't know how eager I will be to watch the second and third films when they come out, but oh well. Okay, moving on to the films that I watched in June. The first one was The Beekeeper. I watched this on the plane on the way to Canada, and I was very happy. They had so many films. I've never been on a plane where they have like TV screens, so that was exciting. And I watched The Beekeeper. I didn't get a chance to see this when it came out in the cinema, and it's basically an action film that stars Jason Statham. That's all I'm gonna say because it's an action film. I rated 3 stars out of 5. It was good and I enjoyed it whilst I was watching it, but it wasn't anything particularly, I don't know. It was an action film. There was violence, there was Jason Statham, and some explosions. The next film I watched, also on the plane, was Migration. I really wanted to see this when it came out because I love a good animated film, and this follows a family of ducks who are migrating, and they're trying to get to Jamaica, but they end up going the wrong way, and it just follows the story of that. It's a very good animated film. It was funny. I rated 3 stars was so excited when this came on Netflix because I didn't watch it when it came out in the cinema. I loved this film. It basically follows... I need to stop saying basically. It follows a group of like 20-year-olds or like young adults, teenagers, and they're they're very wealthy, and they're in this big house, and there's a hurricane, so they have to stay inside, and they're playing bodies, which is basically wink murder, where someone is like assigned to be the murderer, and they have to wink at people, and then they have to pretend to die, except someone actually dies, so they think that there's like a murderer amongst them in real life. It has Rachel Senna in it. I love Rachel Senna. The film in general was really funny. I feel like it's very modern day humour, like it was very like Gen Z humour, which I feel like some people might not like, but I thought it was good. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars out of 5. I really liked it. The next film I watched was Hocus Pocus. I've never seen Hocus Pocus, but I was watching old Zoella videos, and her and Mark were watching Hocus Pocus, and I was like, I've never seen this film. I loved this film. I can't believe I'd never seen it before. It's about some witches, and they want to try and stay young and like live forever, so they have to like take, I think it's like the souls of children, or they have to take the spirit of children, I don't know, to keep them like youthful. And obviously people disagree with that because they're taking their children away, so there's a problem with that. I rated this film 4 stars out of 5, if I didn't already say, because I have forgotten. I really enjoyed it. I then watched Hocus Pocus 2. Again, I really enjoyed this. I did rate it 3 stars out of 5. I didn't think it was as good, but then I don't think you could beat the original. I really liked the musical numbers in both of the films. I just thought it was really good. I think the 3 actors were amazing as well in both films. Next, I watched Gone Girl. I have never seen Gone Girl. I'm pretty sure it's based on a book, and I've never read the book. There's a couple, and the wife is a daughter of some like famous authors / like children's book writers, I don't know, and so the wife disappears and goes missing, and then there's a big spotlight on the husband because everyone's expecting him to be like distraught and like, oh my goodness, please help me find my wife. He's not like that. Their relationship was very complicated, and it basically just follows the story of how she went missing, why she went missing, did they find her, how, things like that. It has Rosamund Pike and Ben Affleck in it, and I thought it was really good. I rated it 4 stars out of 5. I think I need some more adjectives other than really good. Moving on, the next film that I watched was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I loved this film. Once again, there's a lot of highly rated films this month. I'm going to read the blurb or the synopsis for this because so much happens in this film. It's quite long. Same with Gone Girl. Actually, Gone Girl's also on the longer side. But for Gone Girl and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I didn't ever think, oh my goodness, please make this end right now, it's too long. But I'll read the synopsis. So, this English language adaptation of the Swedish novel by Stig Larsson follows a disgraced journalist, Mikael Blomfisk, as he investigates the disappearance of a weary patriarch's niece from 40 years ago. He is aided by the pierced, tattooed punk computer hacker named Lisbeth Salander. As they work together in the investigation, Blomqvist such a good actor. But I love this film. I will say there are some awful, like disturbing, disgusting scenes in this film. I believe it's an 18. I hope it's an 18 because some of it is just not good. That's the only thing that's like I disliked about it. It did make it was part of the story. Like I'm assuming it was written in the Swedish book, so that's why they've included some scenes. But some of it was disgusting. But I gave it 4 stars out of 5. The next film I watched was Inside Out 2. I loved the first Inside Out, I think because it was such an original idea. That's why it was so popular. And I still really enjoyed the second one. However, I don't think it was as good again. But I think that's just a thing with sequels. Like if you're they're just rehashing the same idea. Because obviously little emotions inside our heads is not a new concept now. But Inside Out 2 follows Riley, who's the girl, when she's like hit puberty. So she has 4 new emotions walking around inside her head. They're anxiety, ennui, envy, and embarrassment. Embarrassment is my favourite being ever. Just look at them. I just want to give them a big hug. Same with sadness, actually. I love sadness. They're both of them together, just so cute. Anyway, yeah, it just follows puberty. And I liked it. It was still funny, like the first one. The only thing is though, I feel like the first one was really emotional. Like I definitely cried. There was like an actual like really sad bit in it. Whereas this one I felt like was not as moving. There's only 3 more films. The next film I watched was Black Swan. Again, a very highly rated film by me. I had never seen it. I hadn't really heard a lot about it either because it came out in 2010, so it's not really talked about on social media. But I loved this film. I'm going to read the synopsis because I don't want to, ramble and like give too much or too little away. So, a journey through the psyche of a young ballerina whose starring role as the duplicitous Swan Queen turns out to be a part for which she becomes frighteningly perfect. This stars Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis, and Vincent Cassel. I really like Vincent Cassel, but this film was one of the most intense films I've ever seen. I was like so engaged in the film. I think I was watching it on my bed, like on my laptop, and I was that engrossed that my mum came in and like she started speaking and I was like, whoa, wait, where am I? Like what the heck? I winced. Like there was a lot of like, ooh. I don't know why I just showed you what wincing is, but there was just so many things about this film that I loved. And I had to give it 5 stars. I wouldn't understand what that means. I will explain. It's not going to be much better, but basically. But anyway, the film, Glenn Powell is like a very ordinary, like normal being. He like goes to work, comes home, sits and has his dinner with his cats kind of vibe. But he volunteers for the police to go undercover and catch people trying to hire hitmen. So he will go in pretending to be a hitman, and he'll be speaking to someone who's like, yeah, I need a hitman for my husband, I need a hitman for my uncle, like whatever. And then they go outside, and then the police is there and arrests them for trying to hire a hitman and get someone killed. So he does that, but then he falls in love with one of the people that wants to hire a hitman. Hopefully that made sense. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. And I think if you've got nothing, if you're like looking on Netflix for something to watch and you want something like light-hearted, I think it's perfectly good for that. Yeah. The final film that I watched in June was The Bike Riders. This came out recently, like a week ago, in the cinemas, and it has Jodie Comer and Austin Butler in it. And I don't think I went with one of my friends, and I don't think I would have like looked at what was on in the cinema and chosen to watch it, but I'm glad that I did watch it. It basically, I need to stop saying basically, it follows this photography student who created a photo album from 1963 to 1973, I think, following this biker gang, and it's a real story. Like this photo book exists, and he did like a series of interviews with like some of the wives of the bikers and like the bikers and the biker gang leader, and it just follows like a 10-year period of their life, like from when the gang was formed to when it ends, kind of thing. And I thought it was really interesting. The soundtrack was really good, and the only thing it's one of those films that's kind of like, why did they choose to make it into a film? Because I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of photo books and like audio tapes of like interviews like about so many different things, and I want to know why someone picked a photo album about a biker gang and turn it into a film. Like, why? That was the only thing I was thinking about. Like, it just seems very random, because it's not like a story where there's so much action and there's so much stuff happening. It's quite like you get to know the characters and you get to know them over a 10-year period, but there's nothing like, I don't know, there are big events that happen, but I don't know, I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. Yeah, and I would recommend it if you're going to the cinema.